Hey, Rob here, and it's great to be up in the mountains, isn't it? You know, it's a place where you're close to nature, and right now the sun is coming up. Now, being close to nature sometimes has its dangers. As in recent years, there have been wildfires that have been much more common than they used to be. You can see this house right here. There's nothing left of it. And that house, I know that house. It was here 2 weeks ago. And I know the people that were here, but the house is vaporized. And look at this. Isn't that crazy? There's just nothing left to it. However, fire is not always a bad thing in nature. And by the looks of the charcoal here, this was a pretty hot fire. And this is a tree, so this was a forest fire as part of a wildland fire. But in this case, this tree should have been burned down. I mean, or at least it should be dead, right? Okay, I got to reposition the camera and show you it is not dead. So what the heck is going on here? Here's this intense fire. The tree doesn't even look like it was affected. Well, a lot of it has to do with this. This is its bark. And I'm going to just show you how thick that is. Okay. That's about 6 inches of bark. Now, that's a lot of bark. Here's another big sequoia with another fire scar. This particular scar has not even gotten all the way through the bark. That's still bark way back there. 2 feet is about the maximum that these trees have in bark. When I grew up and I was climbing trees and stuff, I climbed trees that weren't even as thick as the bark of these trees. Check out this. You see how it's kind of reddish? Okay, the reddish bark means that it has tannins in it, and those tannins are fire resistant. The sequoia is actually fire adapted. It is adapted to ecosystems that regularly have fire. Now, that's an advantage to the tree because when a fire comes through, it removes the competition. Well, if you can survive and the other trees can't, obviously the other trees are gone and you can carry on your life just as it was before, even better, because now you have more water because the other plants aren't using it. You have more nutrients because the fire has actually released some of those nutrients so they go into the soil. And something else that's really interesting, scientists have actually found that if you don't have regular fire, sequoias don't start having young plants, and so you'll never have a regeneration of the grove. That's so important that scientists are now working with Park Service and Forest Service to have controlled burns. These controlled burns are done at certain times where they can be totally controlled and clean out the forest to make it better for the giant sequoia. Now, the giant sequoia is a really big tree. It can be 300 feet high and 30 feet across at the base, and it has the most mass of any living creature on the whole planet. They're just huge. This tree is so big that it can have a huge scar like this from fire and allow you to walk in, and it's still okay. I gotta show you something. This is actually pretty cool. Is that you see this bark right in through here and over here? What's happening is the tree is actually growing around where the scar is, and that's how it protects itself. So even if it gets burned, it doesn't matter. It still does okay. Its wood also doesn't rot very well. So even though it's been burned back here, the wood doesn't rot also because of the tannins. So now you still got the support, you still got good bark, and it's pretty amazing how these things can stand up to fires. Scientists have actually found that when they study sequoias, the giant sequoias, very few of them are without some sort of fire scarring, and yet they all do just fine. They truly are fire adapted. I'm in front of another home that was burned by the same wildfire that took out that house that I showed you earlier. I mean, it's sad to see these houses gone. It's a beautiful area. These were vacation homes that people came up to. But, you know, even though we're not as fire adapted as the giant sequoia, we are pretty special people. We can be very resilient and deal with adversarial situations like this just fine. Now, check this out. Now, these people are determined to rebuild and to come back and to get their vacation home in this beautiful area once again. I think that's great. I think that's pretty inspirational.